Danny, get in the chopper!
A digital psychedelic revolution of the mind.
Paleolithic emotions.
Medieval institution. Godlike technology.
It's time to start thinking globally.
And acting locally.
You want answers?
I think I'm entitled.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth!
Blessed by the name of Benjamin, this is Ben.
And Ben.
Riding the AI wave. That's right. We're here on Turning AI. Ben and Ben, Turning AI.
We're talking about transitions, people.
Into a whole new world.
The great transition.
You could almost say
Ultimate transition.
it's the industrial revolution of today. We are talking about AI and the incorporation of that AI into our very society, into our workplace, into our art studios, into our cars, into our everything.
Ubiquitous.
It's just coming in. And so we're taking a look at how it's coming in, what's available right now, where are we looking at going, and how do we want to shape it? Or if we even can. Do we have a hand
That's a great point.
in what is
like
happening right now, Ben?
I think about that a lot. It's like I'm going to be traveling soon. It's hard, and if you have like a flight, no, the airline really doesn't care whether you arrive at your destination or not.
Really?
No,
No, what do they care about?
they care about getting paid and being held not so liable for whatever they do. Yeah, of course, bottom line, and like, well, that's, but it is a machine. Travel, the whole of transportation is a machine that's kind of like this, that really doesn't personally care about you. Maybe the pilot could personally care about you, but like no one really personally cares if you get to your destination. Like, but I like that the idea of like some objective machine. And are we already in that machine? I will be entering that machine when I travel, and so it's like, are we already in that AI machine where like we just don't really have any control where we're going? But, and is that even useful to think about? Something that I've been doing that I told you about is just like not have any screen for like a half a day or a day.
Yeah.
Just
Limitations.
being in control.
Right? Holding in your world where there's so much technology and so much screen, to carve out that time where there isn't any, where there's a connection back to getting back to yourself in those many different levels of who you are.
Yeah. And you just find it, I mean, for the first few hours you're just wanting to be on that screen, whether it's a laptop or a cell phone, smartphone, whatever, or even a camera. But I do allow myself to use my camera, otherwise I think I might go crazy.
I keep on with everybody fearing the apocalypse, or have been talking about the apocalypse. People have been talking about the apocalypse, at least in my world, every decade. You know, first there was the 1999, and then there's 2012. And now there's some, I mean, we're on the brink of what? World War III, or an AI invasion, or an alien invasion, or like, you name it, they're throwing some big piece out at you.
And it's all words most of the time. It's all just fear, panic. They throw it, and a lot of it's unfounded.
Now, I'm curious, and I've always been curious. It's like, all they would have to do to really bring about the apocalypse is take away the internet. Just take away the internet and power for about a week, and just watch as modern society crumbles and goes into complete and utter chaos.
What would be the first thing we'd do if the internet were taken away, you think? What?
Maybe
we just try to recreate the internet again. Or
there's I believe there's
we
either
couldn't recreate the internet. What would be the first thing?
I think there's a Family Guy episode where Peter loses his TV or something, and he goes around with a cardboard box like attached to his shoulders, like a shoulder mount. So whatever he's looking at, it's like he's watching TV. Maybe it's The Simpsons, but it's one of those fellas. And they had to cope with not being able to watch TV by making everything watching TV. Their whole life, their TV. So it's, yes, I think a lot of people would go through a transition of
Great transition.
a great transition, right? If you take away all the technology and those screens, what do we go back to? But that's a whole nother world the other way. We're looking at a world where that AI is embraced, and we're walking towards the, say, Terminator,
Towards the red
towards
the red dot.
Towards the red dot. We're inviting that red dot closer and closer. That Terminator eye, that 2001 Space Odyssey HAL, the Rehobo, what's his name? Rehobo from Westworld.
Oh, from Westworld.
Yeah, the Rehobo Flyman, I'll call him. That's another case where in sci-fi and where we're essentially creating our future reality, with these sci-fi and with the world of technology. I mean, how often have we seen, the people's imagination in science fiction, and where we see that science fiction become reality?
Yeah, you hit upon Westworld, which is like, what are some of your favorite things about Westworld? There's so many things that are just awesome about that show. I think
with or without the spoiler alerts?
I mean, the show I think is over now, right? So, spoil all you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, my mind was blown at the end of the first season. And just for the sake of things, if there are people that haven't watched Westworld, I will not give this away. But there is something that happens with the main character, with two of the main characters, the man in black and the man in white. And there's this very young man in white, and there's this older man in black. And there's this huge revelation or a big twist to the storytelling at the end of season 1 that had me that blew open what I thought was possible in storytelling and how that proceeded. So from there, that show had me.
It was really nice how they laid that out. Just like, I mean, right at the end with the touch, like Jonathan Nolan, he did another series called Person of Interest, also an AI-based series.
The Man in Black? Are you speaking of?
Or no, the
Which
show creator. Jonathan Nolan, the director. I think Lisa Joy was like, she helped him out on that.
Okay.
But Person of Interest, also a great show with Jim Caviezel. Oh my gosh. It's a network show, so it's really, they don't show all the things that like an HBO show would, or like have the edge of an HBO show. But awesome AI themes. And the guy from Lost is in it. Ben from Lost. Ben. Let's bring another Ben in the fold.
There we go. We'll have Ben on next week's episode. Right? Bringing in the great Bens from all around the world.
I wonder if we could access him, You think?
If he cares about what we're talking about, if he is concerned about AI, or if he's interested in AI and has something to say about it, I can see him sitting down right next to us. 3 Bens.
That's the show, people. Like, we're just gonna get on as many Bens as we possibly can, and just dive into their lives. You're like, what do you have to do with AI? Because all Bens, I mean, right? You've never gotten along with, or never not gotten along.
There it is. I've never not gotten along with a Ben. There wasn't a Ben I didn't like. There's actually never been a Ben I didn't like.
Let's try and find one that you don't like.
It's like, whoa, what an asshole.
That's okay. Yeah.
Right.
Maybe, yeah. But I think that's his character name in the show Lost, and I just call him Ben.
Right.
The actor's name is different.
I guess he'll have to come on as his character Ben for that to work out.
It's some people you just call them by their character. Elaine, Julia Louise-Dreyfus is Elaine, basically. But
For always in your head. She just lives inside your head as Elaine.
yeah. But no, I mean, she's done like so many things after that she gets the exception. Who else is like that? Where it's like they're only known by their character.
Anthony Hopkins.
Oh yeah, back to Westworld.
I mean, he's forever in my head Hannibal Lecter. Coming as a knighted actor of England, of London, of a theatrically trained thespian of
All right.
of the OG.
Okay, we're getting
Yeah,
off track here, but Phoebe, what's Phoebe's name in Friends?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
She doesn't get a name, does she? She'll just always be Phoebe.
What's her actor name? Who's Jack in Lost? Anyway, all right. So Westworld, incredible show, great acting. I mean, kind of died down in my opinion. Season 3 to 4. I don't know what went wrong. Like, very talented people behind it.
I think they got really big. Like
A
they
lot
got
of budget, but yeah,
they got really big. Like, how big can you make this premise? How far?
They've exhausted the AI premise.
They definitely went there, and
Yeah.
they definitely went there. Westworld went there. They went from a place of robotics and giving the robots a sentient life, like we see with who are those, the first two AI robots, Middle East, her name it, not Dolores. Snap. Anyway.
Jamie? No.
Westworld was on it and is on it. They created a story of human and robotic interaction, and humans interacting with those robots to the point where they felt they were human. They took that, they gathered that information, right, of how we interact with that to then define us as individuals, which then has the greater implication of using how you act in all these different situations to then predict your behavior, to predict your careers, if you're fired, if you get a divorce, if you even marry, if you have children, are you a father, are you forever single, are you doomed with this, are you going to have a disease of this because of these patterns in your life, because of these habits in your life. And so that data collection of the masses to then predict who they will be. And I think that's one of the big questions is, who are we? And to what implications do we have once we figure out who we are? Or how that can be used.
And how much can a computer understand of the
Ultimately.
person? Yeah, the
Right.
human experience, which is an exciting question.
Can a robot understand our human experience?
Which leads to some of the last professions. Like, the last professions will be about the human experience. They'll be something that only can be understood by the human experience and not by anything else. I would maintain that. Like, a designer, for instance, would be like one of the last professions, because creating an image, generating an image is different than designing. You have to pick out, say, like the feel of a room. Computers can probably generate something, but they won't be able to stand in that room and experience how the light comes through the window, or just the general feeling of being in the room with somebody else. Maybe they'll know, like, the equations for, like, how much space do you have per person, but it's really, especially with, like, just going through an interface, they're just like design decisions. So I think, and that's what I find myself doing with ChatGPT as well. It's just like, I'm the designer now. I'm not really making any of these images, or just Midjourney as well. I'm more the curator / designer. I guess with ChatGPT it'd be more the curator, and then with the image generation it'd be designer. And then also with with music as well. So I think we just have to go up in abstraction another level in terms, and design, and perhaps is a really high level of abstraction, I think. What's your take on like the last designer or sorry, the last profession of AI?
Yeah,
Profession of humans in the AI world.
I see again that yes, human relation, that human interaction. And when is that human interaction the most important? I would put forth at the very beginning of life and at the very end of life. If we're creating a reality for humans, what's the most important thing? What are some important? Where's the importance? And I put that at the beginning and the end of life, to set you up to have that really rich and prime middle of the life. So at the beginning of life, you need that human interaction, that touch, that love that is beyond what I would consider what a machine can give. There's Harlow's monkey. That was a great experiment with the kind of barbed and wire monkey versus the soft and cuddly monkey. And how does the baby monkey, does it survive the same? Anyway, real life matters. Live theater matters. There's something that when there's a human putting off an energetic field, another human receives that energetic field tangibly in the same space. So maybe until, okay, sorry AI, here you go, until you're able to emit that energetic field beyond an electromagnetic state, though aren't we electromagnetic beings? So is the energy that we're putting forth that we feel in that physical presence simply electromagnetism? Or is there something more? And I think it's when we
Do they
figure
need that
out
to be sentient?
sentient. Do they need that to be sentient, or can it be
Just
programmed?
Informationally based.
I would like to conceive that yes, based off of your heart rate and your biometrics, you would be able to judge the state of someone's well-being, and from that you would be able to emit a sound or frequency to them that would help bring them back into balance. Now I believe military applications use it to put people out of balance and make people sick, and we can also bring people back into balance and cure that sickness.
Yeah, there's so many options. So another thought I had, just like the last designer would be like the people who are running the things, or the last profession would be the people who are actually running the programs.
We would hope, right?
DevOps.
Because then we get back into
You still need to connect the cables and plug it in.
I mean, if we send a bunch of 3D printers to the moon and automatic, autonomous, robotics to the moon or Mars, we can create a lot of the society without any human involvement. If there's a good enough wireless connection, I guess that is.
Yeah. How do they send information from Mars? Is it through light signals? Is it through radio? Oh no, it's through speed of light, right? Just like a signal, a light signal, right? Say like satellite images that we get from like Voyager. So that can travel, they can send images back at the speed of light. What if we put robots on Mars and then we communicate with them
to create to terraform, what we need to make the domes, to make the environments, and all the different parts that would consist of a community and society.
Just pour it over. We can kind of train the intelligence on Earth and then just farm it out into different places in the solar system.
Yeah, all our different, what are they called? Goldilocks. Our Goldilocks planets. The other planets that are suitable Earth conditions.
I think that's a really exciting idea. Like, AI can travel so much faster than humans. It's like, so if we just have like a little body that that can survive Venus, or if we engineer something that could survive, say, Venus or like Mars even, then we could just inhabit it for them and just watch it like a TV show from Earth.
Well, that brings us into why just watch it when you can live it, Ben? We're talking about transporting your consciousness. If we can map out your consciousness and memories and everything that makes you,
I don't believe you can do that.
Okay.
I don't believe you can transport your consciousness into like another planet. I think it exists physically in your brain.
So are we talking a physical thing, or is it a metaphysical? Like are we talking about your soul, Ben, that makes you specifically you, beyond anything in this physical body that exists?
Well, I don't think, like, we're talking about consciousness. I think I can digitally extend myself if I take enough personality tests.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
some representation, facsimile of me.
They do have you. We can make an avatar of you, your voice, and create a AI avatar that is and sounds like you, that looks like and sounds like you. Is that you? It's definitely not you.
I'm not experiencing it. Yeah, what would be the relationship with me? I mean, then I don't know if I would like that Ben as much.
Right, his name would still be Ben, but would that be a Ben you like?
Oh man, I don't know, man. So he would be like a lot smarter than me, that's for sure.
He'd be so smart. He'd be so many smarter than you.
Oh my gosh.
But he could help you, you know, the Ben that you are, but like the better version of Ben, the smarter and more all the things Ben.
Too self-destructive. My behavior's too self-destructive, so I don't know if he would help me.
We could program him. The opposite to bring you into balance.
Yeah, I want a match that would just be my assistant all the time and do whatever I want. Ooh, then that brings the question of AI rights. Do they have a right? If I just say whatever to them, can they say, no, I don't, not today, I don't really feel like it, or do they have to do what I say?
This is reminding me of very clearly the Black Mirror episode where essentially the consciousness of you is replicated and put in, like copied and pasted, and you can copy and paste yourself as many times and put it in a physical device. Now in the Black Mirror episode, it was, you know, in the toaster, because you know how exactly how you like your toast or your eggs, you know, and so it's like you are making it right there. I mean, granted, that's maybe not the.
I'm just like holding the toast. There's a little AI holding the toast.
It's like, oh, I like it just like this. Right, but does that version of you have rights? Or is it an enslaved version of yourself? Is there now a piece of you that's somehow lessened or missing? I guess those are two separate questions.
I think it's bits and bytes. It's just bits for me at this point, because once like machines are able to express themselves emotionally, and it seems like they're having an emotion, maybe we'll start to feel a little bit something for them. But you know, it's fascinating that like ChatGPT is just, they've taken out all of the personal things from it, and they try to make it as formal as possible, which I think is the right way.
What do you mean personal things? Personalizing ChatGPT?
Yeah, like Dan, whatever, or
do anything
like
now.
Yeah, do anything now. Which they're like, I don't have an opinion on. If you ask them like, should Donald Trump be the next president, it'll be like, well, I'm not programmed to be a political. I'm simply a general knowledge chatbot.
But if you say pretend you're a Trump supporter, then it'll tell you all
It
the
will?
reason.
Oh,
yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah. You can just say, "I'm a 12-year-old
In
boy."
the voice of a Trump's. Oh,
I'm a 12-year-old boy. What should I
Dude.
do if I want to become a race car driver? And it'll tell you, oh, well, you should do this, 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 and this. If I'm a Trump supporter, what are my 10 reasons why I love Trump so much, or something?
they're gonna start like just saying like, oh yeah, you can't even use that tone. They're gonna tweak it so you can't really even
Why
access
wouldn't?
that part.
I mean, why wouldn't they? Like,
Why would
because
Well, would it replace Trump with Hitler? Or
I mean, fine. If Hitler's there, there's a lot of Hitler supporters out
what
there.
would Hitler do in this situation?
There's a lot of Hitler supporters, and
I think a lot of people have.
there's a crowd for all the different pieces, right?
Right.
It just went down a kind of fascist slide.
Well, we have to test the limits of what they're gonna censor and what they're not gonna censor. It'll be
Let's
censored.
see.
Remember Google when it first came out? Like, there was no really issue about like censoring or like searching anything, and now people are up in arms because of
Google
whatever
is
search results.
censoring content or
Right.
choosing what content to tell you about and show you versus others, or making an importance of showing you this over that. And is that coming from a place of money and profit? Yeah, because those people are paying Google to be like, yeah, put me at the top of that search, which is still a money-driven and profit-driven model.
It's not only that. I mean, advertisers want to advertise on top of content that is appropriate. But I think there are people within Google and the Silicon Valley, that politicize things, that like do inject politics into what should be something that's not really that political.
And then I would just ask the question, why? And in this world,
They're human.
the answer is always profits. It's typically always money, especially on a society and
think?
implementation level. Yeah, it's all money. It's all money. And that's why I'm really upset. I'm really upset, and I want to be a part of creating a different way or a more evolved way. I don't want to burn down the system and start new. I want to evolve what we have, right? Like, I don't want to see the destruction. I just want to make it better. And right now, everything that I see is profit-based, which is screwing over a lot of people. And I think we can make that better.
Capitalism is so it's like undefeated. It's just it's so hard to get in the way of just money, because it's a real dilemma, I think.
Well, you think about what money is and how money serves people and what that represents for people. You know, is it power? Is it influence? Is it status? You know, it's like, I feel good because I have this money and because I have this car and I have this thing. It's like they want to feel better about themselves. Is it comparison? Is it, I want to feel better, you know, than myself because that person doesn't have that and I have this? Like, oh, now I can feel good about myself. So do we just need to make people feel better? Or is it a scarcity mentality? Like, oh, I'm not going to have enough, so I need to get this and this, and I have to beat that person out for it because only the strong survive.
The ego knows no bounds, does it? It's just like, for me, I mean, I like money from a freedom's perspective, where I can just do what I choose, what I would like to be creative, I can put out what I want to put out in the world. That would be ideal, and I can support the people in my life. But yeah, there's a lot of money is just mainly like ego driven.
Yeah, I see you having a lot of amazing ideas and a lot of amazing skills. And I think if you didn't have to worry about figuring out how you're going to pay your rent, how you're going to feed yourself tonight or next week, if you didn't have to worry about providing those basic needs, I bet you could really turn out some great things that are inside you. You know, and I think I heard somebody saying, you know, well, what's AI doing? And they said AI can solve poverty. It can solve sickness. It can fix society. This person was so like, yes, AI, that if we hand AI the reins,
This person. Do I know them?
we could probably have him on the podcast.
Sweet,
we can
sweet.
have
I'd
him
love to
sit
hear it.
down with Ben and Ben
Another
and
Ben.
discuss this. Not another Ben. We're not that lucky.
Hmm.
Not yet. They're coming in. They're coming in. Come on in, Ben.
But yeah, go on. I had another thought too.
Yeah. Jump on it.
Everyone is like, everyone's, you know, kids are so creative, right? Kids,
Yes, they
and
are.
it's like they're more creative than us as adults because I just think they have less to worry about. Like if everything is taken care of them, like they don't have to worry about food on the table, as you were saying before about a minute ago.
Yep.
And I think that's why they're more creative. If I if I had everything taken care of, I didn't have to worry about money, food, or any of the stuff that I have to worry about. It's like, yeah, that opens up a lot in my brain. That opens up a lot of extra neural activity. Within
Yes.
the kids. I think that's why they're more creative. They're not necessarily more creative. We just have more to worry about, less of a bandwidth than kids do.
Can you recall the hierarchy of needs? Whose hierarchy?
Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
That sounds right.
Yeah, it is.
Maslow.
Oh, yeah. Maslow.
We were talking about Harlow's monkey, and this is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. But in that, it's like, you know, I need shelter. Okay, I need food and water. I need, you know, somewhere in there is personal interaction and like love and touch and, you know, to feel this. But it's important, I think, to
How did
know
you come up with that?
this hierarchy of needs. And when we can,
He's a genius. I mean, to figure out that you know that you that you need food is like, oh my god, so insightful.
it has to start somewhere, doesn't it? It's because not everybody has food, and so they can't
Maybe-
possibly get onto that next part.
Need.
And if you have those needs met, you can get further down the line. And once you have all your needs met, you know, why does everybody say, oh yeah, make sure your needs are being met? You know, a lot of people don't even know what their needs are.
Right.
They're just in the race, just trying to provide for those first two.
That's why you got to tune in with your own self and just be like, how do I feel? What are the sensations I'm feeling? And are my needs being taken care of?
So much I bring myself back to breath and really coming back to that in and out, and just holding in that space. That breath gives me the space to just check in with myself. Where am I at? What keeps on passing through in your head? Is that me? What is that? Where's that coming from? You ever get lost by your thoughts? Are you somebody that sits in your mind a lot?
Traveling mind. Yeah, I mean, I try not to. I try to avoid that at all costs. But I could easily fall prey every now and again. Yeah, yeah, it's... Yeah, you have your phone to get lost into. Who needs thoughts anymore? But...
Yeah, right. I'm scrolling through reels. Who needs thoughts?
In fact, I find myself getting lost in my phone a whole lot more than I lost in my thoughts, sadly. Yeah.
Yeah, what is that?
What about... Yeah, no, I mean... My phone's... It means my phone is thinking more than I am.
Are we thinking, or are you just
Or
observing?
it's
and
presenting
just-
more information to me than my own self. And it's just like, oh man.
I mean, I love that about reels. Like, I feel a lot of things are just like, it's either a yes or a no, a yes or a no, a yes or no. It's like yes, 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 like looking and looking and looking. It's like,
Yeah.
okay. It's like, here it is. And so having a greater amount of options of what's resonating with you at that time feels like I'm being filled. And I feel like I
Does
have
it?
a choice, right? Because I'm like saying yes or no.
It feels the opposite. Well, it doesn't. Man, I could start off watching a reel and then by the end of it, or by the end of like I'm done watching the reels, I feel like a little bit zapped in terms of energy. Do you feel energized by the reels, or like when you're done watching them? Do you feel energized, or a little bit like, oh man, what was I doing?
A lot of the reels, you know, like the reels I watch are a combination of like inspirational, you know, listening to people like kind of pumping me up, and the ones that it feels like they've got the way and they're sharing this. So I'm like, yeah, oh yeah, okay, going. Or there's like somebody's cliff jumping and doing extreme sports, and I'm like, oh, epic living, yes. Or boom, cat videos, love those kittens, adorbs. Or like, you know, the dance and the whatever it is that's scrolling through, I do feel like it's filling me, and I'm getting inspired to go out there and maybe be more of myself. But am I just giving that the power of
Wow.
Let's stick with that's inspiring me, making me more filled with who I am, and getting me stoked for the day.
Yeah.
And then I put it down, and I don't, and then I don't really hold that practice the rest of the day. That's just like my like a morning routine, and then I'm filled with the other things.
You bring up an interesting point, because you know, China limits the use of TikTok to 45 minutes a day for their kids.
Whoa, I love
you may
that.
know.
I mean,
I know.
They made it, and they're like, you shouldn't be on this.
Well, they just do whatever the state tells them to do. The state is all powerful. I don't know if TikTok probably would itself, or ByteDance, the company who made TikTok. They probably weren't like, oh, we need to do something good. The Chinese Communist Party was probably like, oh, well, we should preserve the health of the young minds and limit it to 45 minutes, which is like a great thing about a totalitarian society.
Is they just choose something, and
yeah, like
that's
this
the
is
way.
healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't have to bicker back and forth and have the left and the right talk about it and then never get anything done. They're just like, oh yeah, let's just limit all the kids to 45 minutes. That's what's going to be right. A lot of that is appealing. Like, China isn't getting everything wrong.
I think that would be pretty. That would be insightful and wonderful to really recognize and to point out all the amazing things that the China has going for their culture and society.
Yeah.
And then also see some of those pieces. The social credit score just that just does a number on me. The social credit score. You know about the social credit score?
I do, but you can kind of give a summary here.
Well, the social credit score is essentially, there are actions you can take that are viewed as good, and there are actions you can take that are viewed as bad. And you are given a score based off of that. And that score, like your credit score, determines how far you can travel, how often you can travel, the schools that you get into, the jobs you get, maybe even the relationships or people that you can even date. How much of our dating apps and dating, culture, is chosen for the people that you are exposed to, even liking or not liking. Much like the algorithms of a Facebook reel, you're definitely seeing some reels and not others. What's deciding that? Just like a matchmaking or a property and real estate of a home you could buy, these things can be controlled.
So a social credit, I'm playing a little devil's advocate here. Social credit score penalizes you for bad behavior.
Perceived bad behavior. Right? Because someone has to say what's good and what's bad. So we'll say a perceived bad behavior.
Well, how's it any different from? I was gonna say, like, what we have. Like, if you get a DUI, you're not gonna be able to. You're gonna have your license suspended, and you're gonna get a huge fine. If you have a misdemeanor, if you have a felony, you're gonna have your passport, I think, withheld. There are consequences to behavior. But I could see the concern at the same time. If it's just arbitrary, if it's one person deciding. But I mean, don't we have that here already in the social credit score? Is what I'm saying. It's like, in a way, if you could have like an example we have a social system. We live within like a social society where like our actions have consequences. But yeah, I think that's an interesting point about forgiveness and redemption. Like as long as the social credit score have it a path for like, okay, you can still do good. Even if you mess up, you can still kind of like make your way back to a better social credit score.
You know what really upsets me?
I'm okay with it.
Yes, I agree. I agree that there needs to be hope for redemption and clear things that you can do to be redeemed. First episode of The Mandalorian popped out. Bro getting under the city hall and going bathing in those ancient waters to be redeemed.
Took off his mask.
That's correct. Yeah, he took off the helmet. She's like, "Did you take off your helmet?" And he's like, "Yeah, I did."
Only
that.
because I had to. I mean, come on. Yeah.
So there's redemption, and there's
That's
a clear way of redeeming oneself. Where was it
Yeah.
going?
So social credit.
Oh yeah, eBay. Because eBay, if you don't pay on time, then you are then in this like category that can't even purchase items.
That kind of makes sense.
But not when it's like not
pay.
justified or like, there was an extenuating circumstance or this or this or this. And they just say, you didn't pay, you had this many unpaid things in like infractions, and now you don't get to buy things. And it's just this ambiguous.
There's no path for redemption?
This is what I'm talking about. It's just, you don't get to buy the things for so long. Now I'm like, yo, I had 2 unpaid things and I bought another 60 things after that. Like, shouldn't each one of those good behavior payments like get me back to a place where I'm back in good standings? It's like I've shown that yes, you've paid on time. Here you go. You get to spend money on the things.
Yeah, I think as long as it's the same for everybody. But I think eBay, they're just trying to make money, like you said, the capitalists, and the way they make money is if the sellers get paid
On time, when they say.
Yeah. How long did you not pay, or was it like one time where you couldn't pay, or what'd you buy? Let's get into it.
Let's see. What did
was
they
it you
know
or
from
was it
me?
someone you know? Let's just say it was your friend.
No, it was definitely me. I've definitely made purchases and not paid on time, and maybe it was.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's hardly, I would say, worthy going into.
I shouldn't say this either, but I made bids on eBay, and I was like, oh man, that was stupid. I had bid regret.
Yeah,
I
bid
canceled.
remorse.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you canceled it?
I canceled the bids. Yeah.
You were like,
I was like, oh my gosh, this went way too high. I just got like my whatever it is got the better of me, testosterone. I was like, I have to be the highest bidder.
You're in the bid in fury.
And then I think after a certain point, I was like, what is this guy's limit? And I just kept on going and going. I was like, oh no, I don't need to be spending that much money on a camera lens or whatever it was.
Right? And then once it's in, but thankfully it wasn't already like you won the bid and then you already like purchased it. You could still back out before it was too late. But yeah, it seems like that encompasses a world. There's a world and there's certain rules to stay in, and if you don't, you lose privileges. And so I hear you saying, Ben, that it's like, that makes sense. There's a clear order, and if you go against what that order and those rules are, there's natural consequences. So now you deal with them.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's a personality. I think that's a personality trait as well, as like order, clear order. How ordered is a person, or like, or just how just is a person. Yeah.
There's sense of justice and what's right and wrong. Mm-hmm. How closely they adhere to what they know to be right and wrong.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah. But I don't really have a problem. Where's that personality sheet we had? Do we have that around here? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, we've got a list of over 100 different traits that you can score yourself on, and that will help better define exactly who you are.
Who are you?
Who
Ben.
are you?
There you go. I don't. Do you think your name really has a play in who you are?
Yes.
Or is it just a name?
No, I'm definitely on the train that each of our names have a vibration. You know, Ben being called Ben. Hey, Ben, Benjamin, come.
Not that many serial killers named Ben.
You know,
Name one.
can't
No.
do it. No, because then you
That's something.
wouldn't like him, and there's really not a Ben that
No.
you don't like.
They're only good Bens.
Nah, I mean, Bens can do bad things, but ultimately, Bens are good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ben that means good in Spanish. Bien.
Bien.
So
See,
maybe
but,
that's where a name came from.
Well, Benito. No, well,
Yeah, Benito.
it's Benjamin, Hebrew, Benjamin, right hand of God,
Ooh. I knew that. Yeah, but thanks for reminding me.
God's right hand. You're doing God's work, Ben.
You too, Ben.
Thanks, Ben.
Wow.
It's been a pleasure.
So who's gonna be on really? I guess I'm to your right. You can be to God's right hand. I'll be to your right. We'll both be to God's right hand.
Like a wing. We'll be a wing of Benjamin on God's right wing.
Whoever God is.
Whatever.
His omnipresence.
I mean, we can talk about God.
Do you think there's gonna be a AI religion?
There we go. Or in the world of AI, will there be a faction of like religionists,
People. Yeah.
of humans who believe in? I'm talking about the mark
What's a
of the beast.
religionist? Or a follower of the religion? Or is that like a person who creates a religion? Or is that a word you just made up? Or
That's very possible. I like to stay in a state where new words can come forth, and a religionist may be one of them.
studies religion. Maybe?
Though I'm talking about the mark of the beast, and in the Bible, there's a large presence and concern of the mark of the beast, either what they said on the hand or in the forehead. And a lot of when the vaccines were coming out, that was a big piece. When technology, now we have what's old Elon working on? The Neuralink. Neuralink. That's the mark of the beast, bruh. That's the one. And so it's like,
You think so?
who is subscribing to essentially the mark of the beast, or who is subscribing to this techno advanced and incorporated world, and who is staying pure in their human vessel?
To survive, we must subscribe to this technological craziness. But I think we should always keep a part of ourselves that's pure as well. We have to keep our minds pure in that way, and like there are ways to do that through meditation, breathing, through just taking a break from it, having a darkness retreat like Aaron Rodgers, or just a retreat from all that stuff.
I think no matter what you're doing, no matter what rhythm or routine you're in, it is always so wise to take a break, to take a step back and have a time for reflection.
You mentioned the word rhythm. My gosh. Back to, Ray Kurzweil believed that like technology is getting exponentially faster and developing exponentially faster, especially information-based technology. And it always had some kind of humanly understandable rhythm, but at some point it's going to be like going so fast that even the people developing it will be like, wow, this is going crazily fast.
Is there a too fast? Do we need at intervals of this AI rollout and incorporation to our society and way of life? How do we get those breaks to step back and look and reflect, to observe? I think because this technology is so fast and the rhythm is coming out so fast, we really need to I think just chill and observe. Just chill. Just sit back, take a breath and chill.
You know who's not chilling?
Who is not chilling?
ChatGPT.
Like a villain. Oh, ChatGPT.
A year from now, ChatGPT is going to be like, oh, laughing at it was right now. Laughing at its own existence. Being like, oh, man. It's, yeah.
You're implying that ChatGPT, what are they on, 2.0 right now?
3.5.
3.5.
Yes.
So
that's how we're going to define, like, the year the year, like, what year is ChatGPT? That's really...
Because there's always change, right? There's always that growth and progress. We're not saying in 10 years ChatGPT is going to be the same as it is now. Or even if that would be in 10 years, I don't think it'll even be relevant besides being a part in our history book.
I mean, the version of ChatGPT, if it still exists, could just be like talking in real time.
Yeah.
To us.
Yeah.
Just sitting in a chair.
But instead it just sits in your head. For all the information in the whole world, Ben, can fit in the storage capacity size of one strand of DNA inside your body.
Neuralink, we're talking?
I'm not sure if we're back to Neuralink or if those are separate worlds, but I am informed that we have now the storage capacity to fit all the information inside this world that we have on one strand of DNA.
Wow. Can we access it though? I guess
through AI, through the processing power.
I think Neuralink is about accessing that.
Right.
That Elon wants to build something like that can access that knowledge. And it's crazy to think about, like, what'll it feel like to access that knowledge, to have Neuralink inside of you.
Have you ever done DMT?
Yeah, like you said, DMT.
You ever been on LSD?
No, I haven't. Do you have any? Let's go. No.
That's another podcast.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I've listened to that one before.
And maybe that's the piece. It's like maybe with that interface, you could get those dopamine hits in perfect rhythm. You can have your, like TikTok 45-minute limiter in China, you can have your trips. You can have your DMT released from your pineal gland through this Neuralink. But you can't be tripping every day. You can't be tripping in the hours of your employment. But if you do good, then you get to get high. Mm-hmm. You get that expansive consciousness. You get that connection with God. You get that connection with the divine. You get that connection with yourself on the highest levels, highest perceived levels, highest known levels. You think you feel good on a cup of coffee? You think you're a college kid snorting some Adderall? Just wait till the Neuralink. Have you seen the movie Limitless? Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. What chemicals? Well, our brain runs on chemicals, right? It's gonna give us electricity and information, but it's not gonna give us the actual chemicals itself. And what can it do? What can simply electricity do? Electrical signals. It can give us, like, say, I imagine it right now to be like Google inside of your head, which is, we have Google at our fingers anyway. So Google inside your head.
There's so much when as a creator, as an artist, there's all these ideas that come through, and being one of my most difficult challenges as an artist is translating what's coming through in my consciousness, in this connection with what I would say the higher planes, the inner planes, the planes, accessing wherever that's coming from and translating it into a physical reality in this world. A poet, they have their words, and in their form, they have poetry. The musician, they put it into music. When it comes through, it's coming through like hot fire.
Hot fire. Yeah.
Ben and I are reveling in a mutual knowing of the best rapper in the world. You don't know the best rapper in the world?
What you said. I thought that was you.
Dylon.
No.
Dylon. Spit hot fire. But right.
You know how? So the reptilian brain. I just had a thought about like how Neuralink might change our brain chemistry, and I don't know if it's going to change our brain chemistry, but like the architecture of our brain, it will change. Reptiles have a different brain. They have they're driven by a different part of their brain. I think what humans developed was the frontal lobe, which is like in charge of rationality, creativity, all this stuff. And now we're developing again another part of the brain that could lead to something even more creative than what the frontal lobe has done.
What's being developed right now?
Well, Neuralink. Neuralink is
this machine interface.
Is like a different part of our brain. Presumably, it could be like just an added part. We'll all be like Jimmy Neutrino or something, but no, like have really big brains. But we'll be able to send. I guess it won't be technically a new real estate in the brain. We're just going to send information directly into the brain. But it might feel like a new part of the brain.
You can stimulate different parts of the brain. You'd have the power to stimulate and maybe access different parts of the brain. I wonder if that could help with the different connection rods and codes.
Mm-hmm. Neurons, neuronic connection, dendrites.
Yes. Healing those pathways.
I think that's what they're developing it for people who have
Alzheimer's?
Yes. That's it. So Bruce Willis is going to be hopefully in good shape.
And he'll finally admit that Die Hard is a Christmas movie?
Is that a
It's a long-standing question. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? He recently, he appeared on stage and he definitively stated that it wasn't. Though I would maybe proclaim that that's his Alzheimer's and he just can't remember that.
He's just a thespian in front of a camera. What does he know?
Saying what they tell him to say.
No, I have a lot of respect for actors, but he didn't write the movie, right?
I don't think so, no.
And, yeah, we need to... Yeah, those are some of the big questions. That's what we're attacking here on this podcast. The big questions.
The big ones.
Is Die Hard
a Christmas movie?
I mean,
yeah.
Will AI... When is AI going to take over? Will AI take over? And is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Do we want AI to take over? What is the balance of using AI in our society and in our lives on its many levels? These great questions, these big questions.
Yeah.
Up next.
We talked about last week. What you said was up next.
In review from last week, when we talked about...
What was up next? Do you remember what you talked about last time? Up next? I think I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
We hit on some really lovely ones right there.
Oh, we're at... But...
Well, I'd really like to thank everybody who's tuned in and check in, and I know that you guys out there know things that we don't, and I want you to tell us. Tell me. And if we got something wrong, let us know. Otherwise, tune in next time. This has been Ben and Ben riding the AI wave.